The country under Uhuru presidency in the last 10 years has experienced a steady downward spiral of the quality of life of Kenyans, with the cost of living skyrocketing to unacceptable heights, with no increase in income and high levels of unemployment. It has become an extreme sport surviving in Kenya, with the prices of the most basic commodities like maize flour, milk, bread hiking with every dollar. Kenyans have continued to demand for the lowering of food prices, asking the government to introduce interventions to cushion citizens from the fluctuations, but instead, the government has been wreaking attitude, dismissed these calls, and brazenly punished those that dare to question or protest the oppression, unleashing police terror on innocent Kenyans. The government, with reckless abandon, has continued to acquire loans that further burden the common wananchi, yet they don't benefit from these loans, as corrupt dealers loot and embezzle them, completely bleeding the country. We can no longer appeal to an ill-mannered government that is hell-bent on undignifying and killing its citizens. The projected growth in Kenya's GDP can only make sense if every household, especially those in the low-income and unemployed brackets, can afford at the very least decent meals throughout the day. The conversation on food prices is only symptomatic. The root cause of our woes as Kenyans is an incompetent, failed government that has no respect or regard for its citizens. As we are heading into an election, we unequivocally and with no fear of contradiction demand that the real practical interventions are employed to ease the pressure on wananchi, or we shall mobilize for the boycotting of elections. With the same ease that ballot boxes find their way to even the most remote places, so should the efforts of the government in reaching all Kenyans facing hunger and starvation. The government must move to revise taxes on basic food commodities and subsidize the prices. It's quite unfortunate that the country has been on a campaign mode for the last 5 years, with those elected only interested in advancing their selfish interests at the expense of citizens, completely neglecting the roles of representation. Office of the DPP is turning a blind eye to the corruption cases in this electioneering period. Kenyans deserve better, and voters must now remember not to forget how hungry they have felt in the last 5 years, even as the stomach of those they elected burst. We must all, in one accord as citizens of this country, punish these unscrupulous power dealers and dare to vote in new, visionary, selfless, and authentic leaders that will serve us with dignity and treat us with respect. Fagia wote, we must move beyond the constant whining and take back the reins of our country from this neoliberal fascists. Viva Congress, viva!
It is without a doubt that life is getting increasingly unbearable for the people of Kenya. The prices of basic commodities keep rising every day, with the majority of the people being unable to afford food, the most basic human right under our constitution. Foodstuffs such as maize flour, cooking oil, rice, wheat, groceries are too expensive for ordinary Kenyans. Hata mtura siku hizi venye tumeambiwa, si ndio? Hata avocado siku hizi imekuwa ngumu to afford. Crisis. Further, we have witnessed a massive loss of jobs among our population and a terrible economic crisis due to state mismanagement and corruption. We are witnessing state demolitions carried out against the people. We are faced with an acute water shortage. Cases of police killings and brutality are on the increase. Majority of Kenyans cannot access proper medical services. Rent is unaffordable. The the gap between the richest and the poorest has reached extreme levels in Kenya. Less than 0.1% of the population, less than 0.1% of the population in Kenya, that is 8,300 people, own more wealth than the bottom 99.9% of Kenyans. So for this particular point, we talk about the immediate lowering of prices of food and other basic commodities, as we have mentioned, as the People's Assembly, the immediate scrap of increased taxes on fuel and other items, access to free and quality healthcare for everyone, provision of clean water for everyone, provision of decent housing for everyone, and an immediate suspension of rent. Immediate suspension of rent. Equitable access to jobs for everyone, and an end to mass unemployment. We also demand the adoption and implementation of the Mwananchi budget, which our comrades have just mentioned, which will regulate the price of basic goods, including maize flour, milk, and even petroleum products like cooking gas. We will read and ratify this Mwananchi budget, and when tumesema, okay, we've already read and ratified it, and we've given them 14 days. Reduction of government spending on programs that are not of high priority to Kenyans. This involves reduction in official travels, unnecessary purchase of government vehicles, spending on hospitality, furniture, printing, and advertisement to trim spending on expenditure. That corruption be classified and treated as treason, primarily for destroying our present and killing the future of our nation. That food is available to all those facing hunger and starvation. We, the people of Kenya, hereby thus make the following declaration: that we consider the above demands as our cardinal pillars in our struggle for a dignified life, that we consider the fulfillment of these demands the necessary condition for decent and sustainable living, and that we shall not cease mass action unless these demands are met. Viva comrades, viva! Viva! Tumesema hizi demands zisipokuwa met, we are mobilizing for mass action, and we are mobilizing to boycott elections. No food, no election. We call upon the patriotic citizens of Kenya to rise up and demand to live a dignified life. We call upon the patriotic citizens of Kenya to join the push for equality, freedom, and justice. We call upon the people of Kenya to stand up for their sake and for the sake of future generations. We call upon the people of Kenya to say no to state repression, poverty, unemployment, and increased prices of basic commodities. We call upon the people of Kenya to join the call for the Njaa Revolution, to say yes to affordable food, health, and dignified living. No food,